Hi, and welcome to Week 9 in review. Running late again this week, especially late this week because we have a Thursday night game. And today is, well, Thursday morning. More on that in a little bit. I'm going to say that a few times, I think, this time. But anyway, here we go. Into the games. Game of the week. Cats with Guns, Chili Dogs. Cats with Guns pull out a 99-92 victory. In this one, Cats with Guns had 5 in double digits. Chili Dogs actually had 6 in double digits. This one came down to Monday night. George had a fairly significant lead, 19 points going into Monday night. But Steve had 2 players going. He had Heath Miller, tight end for Steelers, and his boy Clinton Portis going, who's leading the National Football League in rushing. Unfortunately, the steel curtain came down on Portis. He was only able to come up with 12 points as one of those double-digit guys. Not enough to top the Cats, so the Dogs couldn't lick the pussies. So, what does that mean for these two guys? The loss actually keeps Steve still in first place because Mr. Bill also lost. More on that later. And the win, combined with a Pilot Light loss, more on that later, puts George in a tie for first place in the Bryan division at 6-3. Peyton Manning led the way for the Chili Dogs with 24 points on 254 yards passing, including 2 touchdowns. Portis had 12. Johnson had 15. Steve Slayton had 11. Neil Rackers had 10. And the Titans D had 12. The 5 on Georgia's side was led by the Falcons defense with 26 points. Mark Bulger showed up with 16. Including 2 passing touchdowns, including an 80-yarder in that one. Michael Turner had 15, Ronnie Brown had 14, and Baronis had 13. Next up, Loose Cannons Monkeys. Loose Cannons lost to the Monkeys 92-70. Both teams put 3 players into double digits. The Monkeys, with their 92 points, were led by Kurt Warner once again with 27 on 342 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Ray Rice, 154 yards and another 22 yards receiving for over 170 yards from scrimmage. And the Bucs defense had 11 for the Monkeys. Andre Johnson had 12, Mason Crosby had 10, and the Loose Cannons were led by that unbelievable Giants defense with 22 points, allowing only 14 points against 3 INTs in that, 4 sacks and defensive fumble recovery. The Giants defense playing tough football. So the Loose Cannons loss takes away the game that they had gained last week over the Rockers. He's 6-3 now, back into a tie for first place in the Quagmire division with the Rockers. Thanks again to the Monkeys for that big win. One other thing about this game, I have given the Loose Cannons a hard time about his Packers strategy. He went away from that strategy this week and didn't serve him very well. So don't necessarily listen to everything I say. Next up, the Clash City Rockers and the Pilot Lights. This was another number 1, number 2 matchup that we spoke about, and the Rockers were able to top the Pilot Lights 68-58. Rockers did it the way they always did it. It's ugly. Thanks for leaving my prom date up there for all week. We love it. Rockers managed to score the 2nd lowest number of points in the league, and what's it give them? It gives them a win because the Lights couldn't do much better. Rockers put 3 into double digits, led by Peterson off of his bye week with 21. Kyle Orton had 10. Thomas Jones had 15. Pilot Lights only put 2 into double digits. They welcomed the return of Anquan Bolden with 14 points, but they were led by the Cardinals defense with 24 points. Both teams lost their starting quarterbacks in this one, so it turned out to be a low-scoring affair. Both teams now 6-3, both tied for first place in their respective divisions. Pilot Lights in Bryan and Rockers in Quagmire. Mr. Bill, Super Simon. Super Simon wins his 4th in a row. James red hot with the Super Simon team. He wins 90-54 over Mr. Bill's gang. Simon put 4 in double digits, led by Donovan McNabb with another big game, 349 passing yards, 2 touchdowns for 25 points. Antonio Bryant, 19. Maurice Jones-Drew, 11. And the Bills' defense, which got scooped up for me, I might add, 12 points. Mr. Bill only managed 2 in the double digits. Eli scoring 17, and the Ravens' D scoring 15. That loss keeps Mr. Bill 1 game back in the Bryan division. He couldn't capitalize on the chili dog loss. And Super Simon takes care of some business and takes advantage of the losses by the Rockers and by the Loose Cannons to move 1 game behind those guys in the Quagmire division. Piton's Master Killers. Pitons. I don't know what's going on here. Like I said, a couple weeks ago we went 2 years, had 1 tie. This year we've had 3 ties. I'm not sure, at least 2, if not all 3 of these games have involved the Pitons. This one ends in a 91-91 tie, goes to bench scoring. Pitons win 57-36 over Master Killer. Let's see, the 5 players in double digits for the Pitons were led by Chad Johnson with the rushing touchdown, and Chris Johnson. Right, Chris Johnson. Too many Johnsons out there. I can't stand it when all those Johnsons are hanging around. How about Chris Johnson, Steve White's other boy? 21 points, 89 yards rushing, and a rushing touchdown, 72 receiving yards in that one for the rookie sensation. Talk about Rookie of the Year there, along with 4 or 5 other standouts, including Matt Forte, who's also on his team. 14 there. Owen Daniels, my boy, with 15. Jaguars, D, 14. Trent Edwards, 11. Master Killer put 3 in the double digits, led by that steel curtain defense I talked about a little while ago. 23 points in that, only allowed 6 points against that Washington Redskin offense. 2 interceptions, 7 sacks. Those were the first 2 interceptions against the Redskins on the season, and they took down the quarterback 7 times there. Chad Johnson on Master Killer with the 15, and Cutler with 20 in that one. Both of those teams now only 2 games back in their respective divisions. Sheboygan Headbangers, Big Daddy, in our final game of last week. Big Daddy gets his 3rd win to keep pace with the Monkeys. Neither one of those guys want to be the worst kid on the block. Big Daddy tops Sheboygan Headbangers 78-75. For the winners, 4 players in double digits, led by Gus Farrat, who's like, 55 or something like that. He scored 23 in this game, including 3 passing touchdowns. Bernard Berrien, receiver of at least one of those touchdowns, with 18. Ernest Graham with 10, and the Bears defense with 10. On the losing side, Matt Ryan, 18. Brandon Jacobs having a great year, because I don't have him. I had him last year, injured all year long. He sucked. Now you got him. I'm glad you're having a good time with that. 19, and the Eagles defense, 14. Sheboygan Headbangers, their 3-6 looks much better than Big Daddy's 3-6 because of the divisions they're in. Sheboygan tied with Master Killer at 3-6, only 2 games out of the lead in the Stewie division. Monkeys and Big Daddy's 3-6 puts them 3 games out in their Bryan division. Like I said, we got Super Simon with that 4-game win streak. 2 teams tied for 1st in Quagmire. 2 teams tied for 1st in Bryan. 1 game separating 1st and 2nd. 2 games separating all 4 teams in that Stewie division. Only 2 games separating all 4 teams in the Quagmire division. And really only those 3 games dividing the Bryan division, where it's crazy. This is crazy season tight. Points scored. Still 7 teams in this league within 100 points of the scoring lead, which was taken over again, by the way, by Cats with Guns with their 99 points. Being the high scorer of the week, this is our first week without a 100-point scorer. Looks like I'm running out of time, so I'm going to hit this real quick. A couple of big matchups. Chili Dog Loose Cannons this week. Mr. Bill's Gang Pilot Lights this week. So we got a number one matchup, a number 2 matchup. Cats going up against those Red Hot Super Simon team. Standings in the Pick'ems, Clash City Rockers still lead 33. Next up, Pitons and Sheboygan Headbangers 29. Got to run. I got 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Remember, get your lineups in. Game start now. See ya.